In Monarch Legacy of Monsters, we learn that Hiroshi Randa's early life was marred by the loss of his family and the organization that lost them. His mother disappeared, presumed dead, while working for Monarch. His uncle Lee also disappeared, presumed dead, also while working for Monarch. His father, desperate to prove he wasn't insane, died while working for Monarch.
Well, we could just bring one up, right? Show 'em what a real catastrophe looks like?
So this was never about geology. You dropped those charges to flush something out.
Such events would cause a significant amount of resentment, understandably so. So when Lee Shaw returned, for all intents and purposes from the dead, you would think Hiroshi would be overjoyed. Instead, we see that resentment, that bitterness, come to the surface and focus on Lee. This is after Lee Shaw has explained to Hiroshi the uncontrollable, traumatic events that caused him to stay away for so long. Shaw doesn't use the word traumatic, but still, look at him. But rather than softening to this obvious distress, Hiroshi hardens, and after hearing how he had risked his life and suffered as much as he had, damns his Uncle Lee to a prison in all but name, fated to live out the rest of his life in a drugged up fugue state. The fact Hiroshi is the only person to interview Shaw, the only person to report back to the higher-ups about him, makes this judgment that much more personal, that much more spiteful. All because Hiroshi Randa resented his dead relatives for dying when they said they wouldn't? I'm not making that up, by the way. So why, exactly, is Hiroshi Randa being such a gigantic, colossal, titanic dickhead? I've mentioned before how Monarch Legacy of Monsters appears to be written backwards, and shown how the show likes to reflect or repeat things between characters or ages. A perfect example is Kate, Hiroshi's daughter, who, upon finding out her supposedly dead father had a secret other family, acts horribly towards them. We later learn that she cheated on her girlfriend. This combination informs us that the unfiltered anger she shows towards the secret family is not just anger meant to be aimed at her father, it's also resentment of herself coming to the fore. This isn't exactly great, nor well done in Monarch Legacy of Monsters, but it certainly shows a good attempt at complex, emotionally driven storytelling. Unfortunately, Hiroshi Randa is a bad example. Hiroshi resents his mum, dad, and Uncle Lee for disappearing and or dying on him, and basically never coming back. When one of them does come back, his bitterness is apparently so strong he can't accept the reason for their disappearance and is eternally spiteful towards them. Over 30 years later, bloody hell, how old are these people? Over 30 years later, after getting a hold of his dad's documents, somehow, Hiroshi Randa disappears on both his families to the point he's presumed dead. And when he returns, he's met with an all too familiar bitterness. He's repeating the past, echoing what his parents did to him, to his children. Even the scenes are similar, as the men who returned are surprised to see the children they once knew, and are informed of the death of a loved one. This should be a great bit of writing, of shared experiences echoed throughout the years. But all of that is overshadowed by the fact Hiroshi Randa is being a massive dickhead to his traumatized uncle. Maybe if we had more context or had spent more time with him to work out or understand why he did what he did, this might be better. In fact, he's in the same position Kate was at the start of the series, acting like an asshole for no good reason and garnering seemingly much deserved hatred for it. But Kate had a whole series to explain her feelings and actions and to endear herself to the audience as well as the other characters. Hiroshi Randa doesn't have that time to make up for what he did. And what Hiroshi Randa did to Lee Shaw is unforgivable. Hopefully I've explained fully my hatred for Hiroshi Randa. This video does not excuse the actions of Lee Shaw, nor does it inform them. That's a subject for another time. This video should shine a light on how the writer's pen strokes can glare blindingly through the page to the point of obscuring any good they might do, and how, sometimes, the glare can blind the writer too. I hope you will join me for the final review in the series, coming out this weekend, hopefully, and probably a final full series review sometime after. Last but not least, thank you for watching.